Our first speaker is Eddy Viola. He's an automotive client partner on the marketing team at Facebook. He focused on building technology that drives a meaningful impact for local businesses. This includes creating new tools for helping dealers and their associations reach the exact customers that matter most to their core business objectives. A quick search online turned up the following photos. Eddy has fantastic hair, and wait till you see the shoes. When I looked online and you search Eddy Viola, this is the first thing that pops up. I'm assuming this is Eddy Sr. and this is Eddy Jr., but I'm not sure. All my subsequent searches turned up this. Apparently, Eddy's in the witness protection program, and as a member of Facebook, he's not allowed to divulge any personal information online. I did get a call from the FBI asking me why I was searching your name, and I told him I would stop immediately. Eddy, he told me he was an incredibly bright child. He said he'd always make the strangers show him the candy before he'd get in the van. Please give a warm, innovative Dealer Summit welcome to Eddy Viola. It's the big green button.
Thanks, nicely done.
Thank you, welcome.
Oh, what an introduction. Good afternoon, thanks for having me. I am Eddy Viola, not the orchestra conductor, the guy at Facebook. I lead our marketing strategy at Facebook for small and medium-sized automotive businesses. And what that really means is that I spend a lot of time thinking about your business, whether you're a dealer or you're a local agency. And I want to share some of that thinking with you today. And I thought it'd be easier to do that. Click forward. Point it that way. Nope. The big green button, right?
The big green button.
Nope. Hey guys.
I got a crack team of people.
I see that. They're working hard.
Because they have glasses on top of their head. I think they're smart.
Anytime you guys are ready to move the slides forward.
No clicker.
It just decided to go dark. So did this one. Which button is it? Nope. You guys want to advance for me? Cool. We'll try this again. All right, so whenever you guys are ready back there, if you could advance the slides, and I'll just point to you when we need to move forward. I wish I knew some good jokes. Oh man, come on. What's so special about my shoes, man? It wouldn't be a presentation from a tech company without some technical difficulties. Awesome. All right. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, I want to share some of the thinking that I've been going through on behalf of all you guys at Facebook on your business, and I thought it'd be easier to break up this conversation in 3 parts. The first is to talk about why mobile matters, and specifically why it matters for automotive. The second is why Facebook matters, so what's the value of Facebook for your business, and last is really focus in on what your opportunity is today. So to talk about mobile and automotive together, I thought we'd start here, 379 million. That's the number of new vehicles this industry has put on the road globally in the last 25 years. And as an auto industry, we've been doing this for over a decade. And in looking this up, it got me thinking about this, right? The Model T, which is really the original mobile device. And on the surface, you can look at this as just a machine, something that gets you from point A to point B. But the automobile is so much more. What it actually did was give us all a sense of freedom, and something that really spread across our culture. It changed everything. It changed how we chose to be entertained, where we lived, shopped, and it gave us a sense of personal identity. Even today, many of us think of our cars as an extension of ourselves, with a lot of drivers spending over 46 minutes a day in their vehicles. This original mobile device is about us and how we connect to things that matter most in our lives. And today we have a new mobile device, one that's expanded the way how we think about mobility in areas we couldn't even think possible just a few years ago. And what the automobile did for the world in the last 25 years, very soon, this mobile device will do for the entire planet in the next decade. And at the center of it all is people. In just the last 5 years, we've seen entire industries, including our own, really take a hard look at the old ways of doing things and think, does that still work? Are they being challenged? In some ways, are they becoming obsolete? And we've seen startups like Uber and Airbnb, brands like the Dollar Shave Club, and payment systems like Venmo emerge. And just like how the automobile shifted our culture, this mobile device will no longer be looked at as just a machine or a device. It'll be looked at as a way people consume, the way people behave. And that's happening. It's already happening today. Mobile is shifting the way we act, the way we learn, the way we shop, and how we connect. Now, if you look at the history of media and advertising is also changing at a fast pace, and it's because of mobile. So, you look at radio, for example. It took them 38 years to reach 50 million people. And it took TV 13 years to reach the same amount, and mobile in just 10 years reached 2 billion people. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen these statistics before, but what stands out to me, and I think often gets overlooked, is that one, these changes are permanent. Right? So because it happens so fast, it's hard to believe that mobile is bigger than TV, even though the data says it is. And the second thing is that mobile has people's attention daily. You see the 3+ hours spent on mobile stat here. And mobile has become this new phenomenon where it's both complementary to other media channels, but also competitive. And what I mean by that is this. If you could think of it in this example, almost nobody watches TV with the radio on, but try to find a young person today that's watching TV without their mobile phone. So what does this mean for your business, right? Whether you're an agency or you're a dealer, how can mobile be a part of your strategy? If you're looking to get people's attention, then mobile is now. The shift to mobile has happened. We're living in it. And of course, because I'm up here, I'm sure you're probably wondering, what does Facebook have to do with this, right? How can Facebook be a part of your mobile strategy? So let's talk about this at a really high level. Some of you have direct experience working with us. Some of you have maybe general opinions about what you think Facebook is. Let's just reset that really quickly and look at it from the standpoint of your business. And the first point that I want you to kind of hone in on and remember Facebook as is the world's largest media platform. We're centered around people. We have 1.8 billion people using our platform monthly around the globe. This gives us a unique view into how these behaviors are changing. And it allows us to take those learnings and create experiences that matter most to people. That's why people keep coming back to Facebook every day. The second thing you need to remember about Facebook is we have a large scale here in the US, from national down to your local market. So when you take that 1.8 billion and bring it down to the US, we have 209 million people on Facebook monthly, with about 8 out of 10 of them coming back every day. And that number, 209 million, represents about 80% of the internet users in the US. So if digital matters to you moving forward, then so should Facebook. To give you a real-world example, yesterday I pulled up our ad system and got a map of Denver and dropped a pin right on this convention center. And then I drew a 4-mile radius around that pin and created a geofence and looked to see how many people are active on Facebook for me to target with a campaign that are living in that area. And there's just over 500,000 people living in a 4-mile radius around this convention center. That's the kind of scale that I'm talking about that can have an impact on your business and the scale that you can use for your local objectives. And the last point, because I mentioned mobile, right? It's no surprise, Facebook is mostly mobile. 93% of our traffic or activity on our site is coming from mobile. And we're not just a mobile destination. You notice a lot of other familiar publishers up here. We have more time spent than all of them combined across Facebook and Instagram, which represents over 20% of the time people spend on mobile. So we not only have a destination, we have people's attention. And when you look at the extensions that we offer, in addition to that, outside of the Facebook and Instagram app, across other apps and other mobile services, you can extend that to an additional 6% or over a quarter of the time people spend on mobile. So mobile matters. Hopefully you're convinced now that Facebook matters. So now what? What should you do with this? What should you leave this talk with? And I wanted to simplify it in two parts. One, there's some turnkey solutions that are emerging in the market that are worth knowing about that I want to share with you. And we'll talk about that. And the second is using what's available to you on our platform directly to go after the objectives and the outcomes that matter most to you. Leads, calls, traffic to your store, and traffic to your website. But before we get into this, I want to show you a quick video so you all have a good sense of what the Facebook newsfeed looks like and why people are experiencing or spending so much time with it.
Home sweet home. This is not how I imagined prison to be at all.
Check out that gooey core of deliciousness. It's calling out to your spoon.
Chugga chugga Charles, my man. Hilda, like the new do. Got some layers in there, huh? The more the merrier. Gotta have this stuff in the morning.
Behold, the bacon portobello melt on brioche. Ah.
So hopefully what you picked up there is that the Facebook experience, the Facebook news feed, is immersive, it's expressive, it's creative. It's a place where people discover what matters most to them, from posts about their friends and their family to the brands that they care about. Now I want to get into the specific solutions, and I promise here I'm not playing favorites by showing different providers here. They just happen to be the first movers, the first to market to innovate and build technology around the things that you need for your business to make it easy. So most of these partners, and I think the best way to describe this to you is to actually show you what they've built, have tapped into your inventory feeds and have automated how advertising can be spread to all of those people that I showed you on Facebook. So to walk you through this, I'll go through an example of what Dealer.com did, although a lot of these solutions work exactly the same way. They partnered with Dark Cars, a small dealer group, to help with their biggest challenge, which is when they were running media on Facebook, they were driving traffic to their landing page, and then second to that, they were driving traffic to their listing pages. And the reason why is because that was kind of easy, right? Because it was just a couple links. But what they really wanted was traffic to their VDPs. And all of you that are dealers, this wouldn't be a surprise to you, right? But they were going this roundabout way to try to get this end outcome because driving to VDPs was hard. And the reason why it's hard is because when you try to do it manually, you've got hundreds of these VDPs. They have unique URLs, they have unique assets. It has to match your inventory. If you're manually trying to do that, it's really, really difficult for you to do in-house. And some of the local agencies, if you're not doing with technology, it's really hard for you guys to do that as well. So that was the challenge. How do you solve for that? And the way you solve for that is through automation. And that's how you scale and that's how you succeed. So Deal.com, knowing how these websites are structured, knew that these listing pages, the information that's shown here is being fed from an inventory feed, so all the images and the descriptions. So just connect that plumbing into the Facebook system, and now all of that imagery, all of those descriptions are available for advertising. And what that looks like, or at least what that looked like for Dark Cars, were these dynamic campaigns where the imagery and all the descriptions were automatically being created for each individual person. And the way that they solved for the targeting was pretty innovative. One, they did straight retargeting. So anyone that visited your site, or the Dark Cars site, was retargeted. So if they visited for a specific piece of inventory, they received that piece of inventory plus a few other suggestions. If you visit another part of the site, you got another type of inventory source. And on top of that, if you had, let's say, 1,000 people visiting that website in the month, that scale is good, but that's not tapping into the thousands, if not the millions of people that are in the market. So what they added on top of that is what we call lookalikes, which is you take that 1,000 people that visited the site, and with all the information that Facebook knows about people, we find, let's say, the next 10,000 people that look just like them. So that lookalike audience is a high quality audience that's modeled after the people that are visiting your site. So straight retargeting and then prospecting with the lookalikes. Another way to help explain that, right, so you can really visualize this, is there's a lot of data that Facebook has, right? That's all that Facebook data. And there's a lot of external data as well. You've got a ton of data that's really valuable. So my biggest advice for a lot of you is use the data that you have, right? So people that are visiting your site, data from your DMS, but we also have third-party information, Polk, for example, or this information from endemics. So all this targeting that I'm talking about is taking information that we have on people, matching it with information that you think is valuable, and finding those right people. And then once you have that very specific target audience, then you can build a lookalike on top of that to get a little bit more scale, because you're adding an extension of a quality audience to that. So it shouldn't be a surprise through this case study with Geo.com that they drove a lot of VDP traffic, and they did it very, very efficiently. But the key point here that I want to go back to is around quality. Right? Because we know who people are, because the targeting is so specific and the lookalikes are so specific, this wasn't just cheap traffic, it was efficient quality traffic. So to wrap this part up, you'll notice that there's kind of two levels of these partners here. The top level, I'm sure you recognize, are the website providers, right? And they're all doing exactly what I just described. The endemics are doing something similar, but instead of taking traffic from your website, they're taking traffic from their website, and then creating these dynamic ads that are driving VDPs back to your website. So what's interesting about that is these are complementary to each other, right? They're using two very high quality data sources. You've got visitors from your site and lookalikes from your site and automating visits back to there. And then you've got visitors to endemic sites and lookalikes from there and driving traffic back to your site. So using these two together is a great way to get scale and to reach more unique shoppers in your market. So the next part I want to move on to is the things you can do yourself. And this is either with your team in-house or with your local agency. And the video that's running here is our lead ad. I'll get to what that looks like in a few other slides, but feel free to watch this video. It kind of runs for a little while. It's an innovative use case. But what I'm talking about here is using the targeting that we have, using the data that you have, but drive very specific outcomes. You want leads, calls, and traffic to your site. So what that looks like, now I'll show you in a few slides. I think that the key point here to remember is you're in control of these campaigns. You have to think like a marketer. What behavior are you trying to change from people? How are you going to convince them? What do you want them to do, and who should you be reaching with this message? Ultimately, those three pieces are the basics of a campaign for marketing, but they're the basics of how you set up a campaign in Facebook. You have a clear objective against a defined audience with some very specific creative. And if you have consistency across those three, then you're going to see success on your campaigns. And you can start taking that approach in different areas for your business. So why buy here? You can promote your individual brand. Ready to buy, you can target shoppers specifically with offers and things like that. Customer for life, retention campaigns, fixed ops campaigns, and events, right? Promoting either sales events or mini events that you're doing in the community. So let me walk through each one of these individually and show you the different ad types you can do and just explain the strategy a little more. So for your, for the campaigns where you're trying to sell the value of your brand, one ad type you can use is what we call our local awareness or call now. You'll notice that, in this image, you have a spot for some beautiful creative. All those gray bars are areas where you can include text. But the part I want you to focus on is this gray button that says Call Now. When people discover this ad in the feed and they click, automatically through Facebook allows them to click out and call your store. And you can set up campaigns to drive calls to the service side of your business, or you can set up campaigns to drive calls to the sales side of your business. And how you match the messaging and the targeting, again, matters a lot. So some suggestions here is potentially employees of a local business. Let's say there's a hospital near your store, and that's a great pool to prospect. So you find who those people are on Facebook, target them with maybe a specific offer and get them to call into the store. Or parents of young children. Maybe you just updated the nursery in your store and you're trying to sell the convenience and the value of how much you care about family and community. So you target parents of young children with a message to call and schedule an appointment. This next one you saw already, it's our lead ad. And again, you've got a lot of places to put your message, beautiful, creative, but again, the button's different, right? Sign up. When someone clicks on this ad, it can very quickly just pull up this screen. We pre-populate people's information, right? So this is me, and because Mike might find this on the internet, I have to gray out my email address, right? But we pre-populate name, email address, phone number, whatever we have available, and give people the option to edit that, right? So the lead ads product can be that simple. I want to be in contact with you, give me your information, right? Or it could be a little more extensive, like that first video where you start qualifying people a little more. What are you shopping for? What are you interested in? Do you want to trade in? Such and such. Again, here, the creative and the objective should match the audience that you're trying to go after. So a few suggestions here are owners of competitive makes and Polk in-market shoppers. All Polk data is available within Facebook natively for free. So you go into the our targeting system, you go under automotive, and you can see everyone that's in market, or you can find owners of different makes and models. So if you want to run a conquesting campaign, you can reach owners of competitive makes, of maybe people who have owned their vehicle for 6 years or more, and you send them a lead ad and say, I want to be in touch with you, right? You guys understand this better than I do. The next one you've seen already through the Deal.com example, but this is what we call our carousel ad unit, which allows you to display a lot of different messages and images in one ad. And what's interesting here is you can use this for your loyalty programs. Potentially imagine for service, if you load your list of inactive customers, and each one of these cells is maybe a certain service offer, or people that are in equity, right? If they're very close to the maturity of their lease, you can send them an ad that looks like this, that has different offers, and in the end, click through and take you back to your website. Right? So this allows some flexibility, but again, matching the targeting to the ad type and the messaging is really important. And the last one I want to show you is video. You noticed in the video that I showed you of the news feed that video is extremely popular. Right? People consume a lot of video on Facebook. And my advice to you is use video as a broad-reaching message to people. Right? So if you're doing a mini event, for example, and it's specific to millennials or college grads or these parents again, then reach this broad audience with a video to get their interest, and then follow through with one of the other tactics that I showed you to then show them the video and then maybe get them to call and schedule an appointment or RSVP in another way. So to wrap this portion up, hopefully what you're seeing here is that Facebook is a place where you can do the things you already know to do. Right? A lot of the stuff I showed you here is similar to what you're doing on direct mail and other channels. We're talking about leads, we're talking about calls, we're talking about traffic to your site. We're not talking about likes or managing your reputation, although those things are important, right? So those of you that do that in the audience, thank you for doing that, but that's just one small part of a much bigger opportunity. So to wrap things up, if I could leave you with three things, it would be these three. That one, mobile has people's attention. Mobile is now. And if you want to be competitive in your market and you want people's attention, then you have to have a mobile strategy. And Facebook, being one of the largest media platforms and being predominantly mobile, can easily be part of that. And the last thing is, focus on the things you know and the things that will drive outcomes for your business that really matter. Whether it's VDPs, leads, calls, or traffic, use Facebook for that. Thank you for having me this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic job. Give it up for Eddy Viola. Think about where we were this morning. We were talking with Ken Kaloji, and now we're talking with Eddy. And I hear a lot of the same themes: segmentation, defining your audience, tailor marketing the message to that audience, using the data to figure out who your best customers are. A lot of the themes are the same. And so as you think about your action items, think about, okay, what is it that I want to do, and how do I want to narrow this down as far as my marketing goes?